All right, so it's a beautiful Sunday, also my birthday. Slightly different trip this time. It's beautiful. I think it's going to get to be 50 here in Illinois. Be a little chillier up in the UP. So this is that kind of tweener time when the ground can start to get soft and you got to be careful. A little bit different trip. I've got Monday off work. Kathy's going to go up with me there just for about a day or so. Set up base camp probably in Josh's land, and then I am going to spend it mostly doing work, seeing how remote work works from up there, see if I can get a decent satellite connection for remote connections. And with the time I have, I'm going to try and see if I can once and for all get the two base camps set up satisfactorily, the one in the woods and the one by the lakeshore. We'll see how I do. And Sparky's going to come along. So currently cruising up to the UP. We're just a few miles south of Escanaba. The days are long enough. This is March 26th. The days are just long enough now that it's actually still going to be a little bit of light when we get there, even though we left late. So sunset's not until 10 after 8 local time, which is Eastern time in that particular area. So that should be good. We'll be setting up camp a little bit in the dark. Kathy's only going to be with me a day or so, and then I'll be trying to work remotely the rest of the week. We'll see how it goes. So for tonight, the big excitement is they had 3 inches of snow that then melted. So hopefully it won't be too soft going into the campsite. I mean, there's not a lot to light to work with here, but this is one of those times when I feel smug because it's so far. It looks like all of these little things I've done over the years are paying off. I'm going to back the trailer. You can see Sparky way over there. I'm just going to back the trailer a little farther into this little clearing. Just enough branches I've taken down that the tent will be up and secure. And that way, whatever weather comes, and look, there's no widowmakers nearby. This is a perfect little spot at the end of the meadow. And again, like just wiring that LED light up on top of the tent made this so much better. So every now and then, all those little ideas kind of pay off in the long run. All right, well, I haven't been filming much because Kathy came up for my birthday yesterday. We came up together and she's gonna head back. She's got to work tomorrow, but I wanted to capture a rare event. This is what it looks like when I'll get to put the other two out as well. I'm putting on the tire chains before I get stuck. I almost never do that. Portable fire pit, brilliant for snow camping. You can see the hot fire melted all the snow beneath it, and that's why it's so hard to have a campfire when there's snow, because you have to set it up in such a way that the melting snow doesn't melt your campfire. So Kathy and I did some snowshoeing. Didn't do a whole lot with Sparky. Kathy's headed back today, but used Sparky to carry the tire chains for tractor Smurf up here, so we got that all going. And it's the second time I've used the solar panel on the post that I put on the back of the trailer. And we also pushed the trailer all the way back into this cove, which is actually really awesome. So this way, if it gets, weather might turn a little bit this week, but this very sheltered spot with no widowmakers in it, as far as I can tell, that one looks a little threatening. No, I looked yesterday, it's still a live poplar. I'm sorry, not a poplar, a yellow birch. So that's all good. And yeah, that solar panel works great. It was over 14 volts today, so even in this wooded spot, there's just enough of a hole to catch the southern sun for the first half of the day. Evening, obviously, you're not going to get a whole lot of sun, but boy, the night sky was gorgeous last night, so I'm looking forward to spending a few days up here. So again, today is a day off work. Tomorrow I'm going to try and work remotely. Noticing a very intermittent cell connection, but I'm told that Farmer's Dock has a strong cell signal, so that might just be the saving grace.
Checking the tire chains. You can see Escanaba, and I see a little seagull on an iceberg. We're going to drive on the beach. We may need to figure out which part is beach and which part is lake. So I'm pretty level, but the vehicle is not as we drive.
Well, it's here just to look at our tracks and just make sure I know.
All right.
Is on top of rock. You can see here, so we're not out on lake ice or anything. And it looks squishy where the snow is melting on top of the rock. So I was almost intimidated from driving out here, but I'm like, well, I really want to go see, you know, our little beach area there. So I'm glad that I walked it. Yeah, I'm totally confident that will be okay, but I'm still going to stay up on the rock just in case.
I'm not sliding on the rocks, I'm sliding on the snow.
You want me to show you how to make it? Can you just push the button at a lower point?
Well, when you see that footage, you will understand.
Should we film this part? Or?
Yeah, I'm filming it now.
Okay, so if you remember, he kind of said, hey, I think we need to take out that tree with an extra back wheel. But it actually is perfect for making sure that the back wheels would fall in there. And that way I wasn't... This is where the wheel goes. And that's why I want this to warp lumber and then something on top of it so that you have a nice smooth place to walk. And then that's it. You can come in and you come out. Now, to your earlier question, with the sun shining so brightly, this is what I always try to visualize, but I can't, even if I look back at my videos. How would you break out of this little, let's just call it a beachhead? You know, how would you get from here into there? Yellow birch is dead, that cedar next to it is alive. This is actually pretty wide. That tree's a little scary. It happens to know. Well, dead anyway. You want to come over? Yeah, just step on it if you want. Yeah, that'll work too.
A lot of deer.
Yeah, so that also kind of tells you that I think we're onto something here. So right there is what I've been trying to shore up because it drops up so fast. But if instead I clear it, take out that one cedar, just take out this deadfall, you've got a nice wide lane here. This is all just deadfall right here. I wonder if this is the way they used to get in when they were logging back here. Just follow my footprints. So if I clear out just the deadfall from here, you realize there is a very large clearing here. And if I just come over here where these young trees have sprung up, there are definitely multiple high dry spots here where we could pull the trailer with no widowmakers around. And I think this is one of the clearings that I kept seeing with the drone. Yeah, it gets really open right there. Yeah. So I think this is the answer. I think you wouldn't have to cut a lot of trees. I think one live tree gets me back in here. And as you can see here and right there where all these little trees are, just clear some of this out right here. This is where we would park the trailer, and you got a nice level campground right in here. Right there's the lake. You drive in right through here. That's going to actually work. Take that out. This is all deadfall between here and where I've been working. And you can just see little by little as we cut the deadfall. Heck, you can almost play a soccer game back in here. So I'm glad we finally walked in a little ways, and it's easier this time of year. You're not fighting bugs. This way.
Does anybody eat these fungus? Ooh. Yeah.
What'd you find?
Fur.
Critter fur?
It's white and fluffy, so under fur.
Huh, interesting. Yeah, those tracks we saw going off into the deep snow. Yeah, at first I thought they were interesting, but once you get into the deeper ones, you see the cloven hoof print. It's just deer. All right, well, that was pretty good. All right, got a couple extra things going on. Finally starting to do something with the fence posts we brought down here. So that's the plan. Taking 10 the first time. Got a shovel with me because I don't know if the road that we usually take, Sandy's Road, is going to be super easy to get down. But we'll see how this goes. And I use a cordless angle grinder to cut off any nails and things like that. In the meanwhile, when I came to check on Tractor Smurf, I noticed that the tires themselves had sunk into the ground. So this time I'm gonna park everything on top of landscape timbers, the bucket, the blade, and the tires. We'll see how that goes. That was a disaster averted. Got a little stuck trying to climb out here. I'm still not out, but I think I'll be able to get out of here without too much effort. But fortunately, I got out to look. This chain had popped off the outside of the tire, wrapped around the inside of the axle. And it took me about 5-10 minutes here to get it untangled. So by the grace of God, it did not tear out the ABS wire, the brake line, or the e-brake cable. I'm still not entirely sure how it managed to avoid tearing it out, but it is a good design when I looked at it, how they all stay close to the axle housing so the chain didn't get a chance to tear it off. So got it all untangled. I'll back up, reattach it better. I'd have inspected them every single time, so I'm still not sure how it popped loose. But I got to be more careful this time, make sure there's plenty of tension on the outside. And should be not a big deal to get up that hill. Worst case, I'll be annoyed and I'll have to break out my winch. I don't think I've had a trip up here yet where I did not have to break out the winch. It didn't take too terribly long, but it was a little annoying, but can't really complain when I contemplate the real possibility that would have torn up the brake lines. And that top one is crooked, so as I drive, I'm going to have to retension these with deep lug tires. It's both a blessing and a curse. Okay, so normally I would just take this with speed, but you can see I've got to come around. I don't want to slide into these trees, and I've got to hit this with some amount of momentum. And you can see there where I just kind of made a wall of snow. So I'm going to grab the shovel, clear some of that out, and just try and take it slow with the chains. And I should be able to just cruise right out once I dig out the little snow dams there. So discretion being the better part of valor. The skinny pedal is not always the answer. All right, so we'll see what we do here. I'm going to try not to use speed. I just shoveled most of the mess out of there. A couple of high spots in the snow, and hopefully I can just hit right through here. Front locked and rear tire chains, 33s, and there we go. One more big hill here. so close. Forgot that there was another little snow dam here that I should have shoveled. Now, let's just make sure I don't drive off the track here. Yeah, I feel myself go up and then down. Okay, I'm going to try and shovel some of that. And we'll hit it again. But, yeah, got through the hard part. Okay, so right there's where I dug myself out. And I thought, oh, this will be easy. I saw the front wheels climb up to the road. Oh, great. Well, not quite. So now I'm perched, and it's no big deal. I've got a shovel. So I'm just going to dig this out. I'm not going to winch or get cute. I'm just going to dig around the tires. But, yeah, you know, it's a tiny bit more momentum, and I just would have driven through it. But you can see, fortunately, I stopped in time because that tire was about to dig to China. And that tire is got a little bit of violence ahead of it if it wants to dig down to the pavement. So I'll just use the shovel. Okay, so once again, 5 minutes of shoveling should make this less dramatic. Yeah, I'm not going to go too far back. I should be able to just cruise right up here, get a little bit of momentum, and go. So again, locked front and rear. There's a little wall of snow there. I'm going to chains on too. Holy crap, I'm actually on the pavement. Dang. Got a locked front end and I'm on pavement. Wow, alright, a little bit of digging. That was something else. I don't think I missed the ditch or anything. Holy cow. No, not bad at all. I went in, I dropped off some landscape timbers and that's that. I didn't really give it the beans.
You even got the chains on her. I'm surprised you got stuck.
Perfect. Thanks. That was a lot easier than trying to dig my way out. Perfect. Thanks, man. Hey, can I give you guys $20 for a pizza or something?
Sure. Yeah. Just gave us something to do.
Yeah, righty so. Hey, thank you so much. I sure appreciate it.
Have a good one.
You too. Take it easy, guys. Thanks for the help. I'm just going to pull into Sandy's Drive and turn myself around. Thanks to some good Samaritans for pulling me out with the strap there. So that worked out all right. And this gentleman barely had to wait at all. All right, I'll just turn around at Sandy's and then I'll head out. Well, it looks like the GoPro battery's a little cold, so it's probably going to die before I finish this, but I thought I'd just take a quick footage of remote work. So this is actually working out kind of nicely. I was in a tent earlier, realized one thing I need is a stadium chair to support my back while I do laptop work. The other thing I noticed is that the inverter kept cutting out. Now it's not doing it now, but there is a tiny bit of sunlight hitting the panel. But I think I'm going to do the 12-volt power for the inverter directly off the battery, as most people suggest, and not on the loadout. That's a very small inverter. It's only to charge electronics. But worked out well. I was up in the tent, and about last couple hours I was here. I was over at Fred's kitchen table. So far doing remote office work has worked out very nicely. And I had a few visiting white-tailed deer who are still annoyed that I'm in their spot. All right, well, almost done packing up. Say almost, I still got to lower the tent, but end of an incredibly successful trip. This was to determine how successfully I could work remotely, doing the type of work I'm currently doing. Work for a building products company. I'm going to do increasing amount of work in the field and a lot of computer analysis. I was a plant manager, so obviously when you're a plant manager, you've got to be in the plant. But yeah, really good range of opportunities out here. The cell phone coverage was more than adequate. I don't think I need to buy a booster antenna. And my latest little Caractacus pots type inventions all worked out. The solar panel on the pole, the new way that I have for raising and lowering the T-slot frame. And now I just take the clamps off, slide them up, lower it, pop the clamps out. It takes way less time than the way I used to try and do it. When I had the clamps on first, it was really hard to get the frame up and onto the clamps. LED lighting, once again, worked out great. I think maybe the only other thing I realized this trip was how many tables I end up using, and is that an indication that maybe I'm getting carried away? But no, very, very rewarding, successful trip. Looking forward to many more like it in the future.